Alright, welcome back to the Roblox course, and in this lecture we're going to take a look at creating our own cannons here inside of our obby. And so I've already placed a part here inside of our stage 2 folder, and then we're just going to scale it a bit, and well, we're just going to model a cannon. So let's do something like this, and then let's make it a little smaller in the Y position. So let's say 0.25. Yep. Let's actually give it a different color so that we can actually see what's going on. Make it like red. I think that that's a good color for a cannon. And then we're going to duplicate this part by pressing once again Control D. We'll move it up a bit. And also make sure to actually name those properly. So this is the bottom. Let's just call it can, bottom can. And top can, not con, but can. Yep. And then we're gonna also get a duplication here in for the sides. And then we're gonna create a script after we've modeled this that will, well, basically make it shoot out parts. So something like that. So that's definitely not quite the right size for the cannon for the sight. So let's just look. This is at let's make this at move this to 37. Okay, he moves it to 30. So 37 is occupied by this guy. So we can just make it so that the bottom one is at 37. And then the top one is at 38 exactly. And then actually make it 39 then, of course, because the height here for this one is 2. So something like that. And then when we move this one to 37, and then we can move it up by 2. There you go. And now it should fit almost perfectly. I mean, it definitely fits better than it was before, so I'm actually happy with that. Because we're not, you know, it's not about making the most beautiful cannon right now. I actually think that that's at least usable. I think that that's at least usable. While maybe not the most beautiful thing, it's okay. So we could, in theory, also just make this so that it's welded on top. And then move it back a little bit. Doesn't quite work the way I intended it to. That's okay. Where is this, by the way? Where is this? This is 1.25. Well, then let's set it up there as well. 1.25. And then all of a sudden we have a cannon, and it actually looks good. I like it actually. Right now, what we can do is when we select everything, so we can just select one of the parts and then press Shift and then basically select multiple ones. If we then press Control G, we actually put this together in one model, and then we can just call this a cannon, or yeah, sure, cannon. Right, and then, well, and let's go in here and see. So this is, let's say, this would be left side, left can, and right can. Oh, this is top, sorry, this is the other one, right, there you go. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom can, and inside of here, we're going to make a cannon script. Sure, let's call it cannon script. That's fine. So first of all, once again, we're going to get the parent of this script, so the bottom cannon part. We will also have a variable called wait time. We're going to set this to 1, and then we're going to use the RNG, the random class. So random.new. So this simply creates a new random class here, and we're going to use this to make it so that multiple cannons shoot, at different speeds, at different times, and so on and so forth. So inside of our while loop, once again, while true do, we're going to make a wait function call with wait time, and then we're going to create a bullet. So local bullet is equal to instance.new part. So we're just going to create a new part here, nothing crazy. And this is going to be, right now it's going to be under the workspace. There is something to be said about maybe making it below the cannon so that the Explorer doesn't get completely filled up with, different bullets. But we're going to deal with that in a little bit. Then we can also do bullet.name equals bullet. I mean, this is not strictly necessary, but I think that it's a good idea. And then we can also do bullet.position should be equal to whatever the position of the part is, plus vector3.new, and then 1 up, I guess. Let's just try this, and then we're going to see if that works. We also need an attachment, and the reason why we need an attachment is not because we want to add a trail, even though a trail would look kind of nice. Right now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make it so that a vector force is, well, attached to the bullet. And for that, like I said, we're going to need the attachment for that. So local force is equal to, once again, an instance.new. And this time it's going to be a vector force. Now, is the one thing we've not seen before, but it is not difficult to understand at all. We're going to see this once we're back in the game again. We can actually see it, and it's going to be relatively easy to understand. So first of all, we're going to write in here, this is going to be force.relative to, and then enum.actuator relative to world. Now, this might seem incredibly complicated. We're going to talk about this when we go back into the other view. But first of all, we also need to put in a force, and that's going to be vector3 new. And then we're going to say nothing in the x direction, I believe. Let's just check. Let's check. So this is the bottom cannon. So what direction is this? This actually is the x direction, but it's the negative x direction. So we're gonna have to do minus RNG, and then we say colon next integer. I'm gonna say something between 7,000 and 9,000. And then we'll also have to put in a little bit of an upward movement here. So next integer here, 450, 750. And then Z or Z is just 0. So something like that. Make it a little bit bigger. There you go. And then we also want to set the wait time at the end, wait time, to an RNG next integer or next number. That's going to be 0.5, 2.5, something like that. So I think that's good. Then what happens is the first time it's going to wait 1 second and then fire something, and then it's going to wait between 0.5 and 2.5 seconds. I think that's good. The big question is whether or not the spawn position here is fine. But we can just check this. So in theory, we should be able to start it, and we should see something. Now the question is, where do I spawn? I spawn here. So we've seen something fly here, so that's a pretty good start. Let's actually put the spawn platform down here so we can see what the bullet looks like. Well, that's the cannon just disintegrated. That's not good. It's of course because once again all of those parts are not anchored. They should definitely be anchored. I can tell you that much. But that's actually kind of funny. That looked really good. Okay, and now, as you can see, it's firing bullets. That's pretty nice. Now, one of the things that's happening is that they are getting destroyed at some point. So we don't need to necessarily clean them up, but there is something to be said about maybe making a part that destroys them. But let's see what we can see. So first of all, of course, it's definitely a little bit too low, so we actually have to get it a little bit higher up. And let's see if that works now. Yeah, so that looks kind of good. And let's see if it hits me. It's a little, I think, just a little bit too far down. Oh, there we go. Now it actually threw us off. So let's get it up just a tiny bit more. Right. And now what we can do, and then this is basically the fun part, we can just duplicate it once again with Control D, and then just have at it, right? Like just add an insane amount of cannons here, because first of all, let's just add a lot, and then we can always make it so that You can take some away, but you can go absolutely buck wild on this one. So something like this, and then at the end, maybe it's gonna get a little bit harder. I mean, a lot harder, I guess. Right, this is most likely gonna be way too many, but like I said, we can always, oh, that's not what I want. I want this one. And then I also want this guy, and we can move it maybe here as well. Something like that. Let's just see what this brings. Definitely gonna be an interesting walk through. I highly doubt I'm gonna make it at the first time, but let's see. So they're firing like mad. Oh my lord. I don't know if that oh no, that's I mean, it with this many cannons, wow, that's insanely lucky. Let's try and see if we can go backwards. So it might be that the parts are not there's a little space where I can stand where I'm safe. So let's see if this part hits me. Yeah, no. So the hitting is definitely enough, but yeah, I guess that's so you can't stop. That's for sure. You can add a few more. Of course, sometimes it might generate the randomness might generate fire the cannons exactly at the same right time, so that you can just run through without any issue. Let's see if that works again. Let's see if I can make it a second time. Because yeah, there you go. So that's what I was thinking. I actually think I got lucky the first time. So this is of course something, you need to try out. Oh, geez. Okay, there you go. You need to try out how many cannons there should be. Maybe even the wait time, how much force is in there. That should all be looked at. Because in the end, as you can see, it's maybe we can add a few more, at the beginning as well, something like that, and then maybe one more here, and then maybe a few less, in the middle, something like that. This is, of course, this has to be tested. You have to test it out a bit, see how many cannons make sense, and yeah, maybe we can get through it. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is pretty good. So overall, this is sort of the cannons. Like I said, I wanted to show you the vector force just a moment. So let's just say I get a bullet here. So let's just go in stage 2 and add a new part to this. A new part. There we go. Right. Then when we add a vector force, so in this cannon script, what we do is we make an attachment, right? So let's just make an attachment. So this is the example bullet, right? And then we make an attachment here, right? We can now see this as this green dot. You can make this on or off by checking this constrained details inside of the model. You can actually turn this on and off, and then we can see the attachment there, and you can actually already also move it about if you want to, but in the middle of the bullet is fine. And they also want to add the vector force. And inside of the vector force down here, so this attachment, we can specify this attachment, and then we can actually see in what direction it would point to. And then we say, well, actually, let's make a negative 1000, and then it would move into this direction. And we can actually see whether or not that's going to work. Move it up a bit, otherwise it is welded on there. Let's see if this one moves. Well, it does move. As you can see, it moved a little bit, but it also fell down. This is why I added for the other bullets, I added a little bit of upward movement here with this 400 and 750, so that they don't just fall down to the ground and then zoom off. And this way, yeah. So that's the vector force that we used. It's really useful to exactly do this, to exactly make a force apply on a specific object or on a part. And yeah, if you do this, you can also try it out like that. For example, we could say, where is it? Oh, it's the vector force. There you go. Now maybe you could do, well, let's do 2000, and maybe then upwards like 100, maybe 200. Let's do 200, right? Something like that. And then as you can see, it's gonna be angled like almost upward, a little bit in this direction. So that's, of course, just the direction of the vector. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, 200 is definitely not quite enough. Man, this looks crazy, doesn't it? It's pretty good. Yeah, and then of course you could use the examples that we had before, and for example, say to the in the bullet we can add we could add a trail, you know, that it looks kind of cool. We could change the color. We could make the color random even, and there are so many things that we could do in theory with this that, yeah, it's almost endless. I will leave it at this, however, because I think that this is fine. Maybe I'm gonna tweak the number of cannons that are there, just so that it's a little bit easier, at least for testing purposes for me. But overall, this is basically how I could see how you could make this cannon work. So the additional obstacle here in stage 2. And yeah, that's basically it. If there are any questions, of course, always feel free to ask, and I'll be sure to respond. And yeah.